I'm burning up.
Well, why don't you take off your parka?
Well, this
Are
is...
you cosplaying as a Dementor?
No, but he's been dementing me for
So
years.
this is technically Harry Potter Part 2, but this is what?
This is our holiday Christmas episode. If you don't celebrate Christmas, that's okay. Celebrate with us.
So in honor of Christmas.
Oh my God, this is where you script.
Oh, no. You are so out of
Oh
frame
my
right now.
God! An ugly Christmas sweater. Why did you buy an ugly Christmas sweater?
It was
You
With
know
Dobby on the front.
it was gifted to me.
Who gifted you that?
That
You know
would be
that
my
when you
sister.
Turn around and shake the cameras at that.
I know.
Haley said for you to turn around and shake it.
So, hi everybody. Welcome to Bonehead.
Welcome to Bonehead.
Hi, Dr. Nick.
Ba, 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 ma, ma, ma. Ah!
All right. So the next one up on our list is Harry Potter. Are you okay? For those out there, James, Chad has
to our
an
iTunes
ugly.
list.
For our iTunes SoundCloud folks, you have an ugly Christmas sweater on with some sort of midget on the front.
That would be an elf or a
I'm
Dobby.
sorry, small people.
That's a Dobby.
That's an elf.
Isn't Dobby an elf?
No,
That's
Dobby is the hate among men.
Show, but yeah.
Dobby is the personification of why we lose.
We left off finishing Prisoner of Azkaban.
We did, and now we're at Harry Potter. Would you stop playing with yourself? It's distracting.
Hold
It
on.
really is.
Good.
You're distracting me playing with yourself.
Woo.
Anyway, we've got the Potter of Goblet of Shit. You just keep petering around with yourself over there.
Harry's a pothead in the Sorcerer's Stone.
Yes,
What?
he is the Goblet of Fire. Now, when people
Here's my
ask-
basic instinct impression.
I think I saw the runway.
Goblet of Far.
Far.
This is my favorite Harry Potter film, other than Fantastic Beasts.
Yeah, it's my favorite one.
What?
It's the one. I'll tell you why. Well, Chad, you want to go first?
For me, in terms of how it's put together, it flows great. Where I don't feel like any of the other Potter movies flow at all. There's long stretches of nothing happening. Where in Goblets of Fire, it's continuous. Also, Robert Pattinson gets what everybody hopes he actually happens to him in real life.
That's not what I have. It's directed.
No,
It's written once again by Steve Kloves, and it's directed by Mike Newell. Mike Newell did a wonderful movie called Donnie Brasco. A few other things we could talk about as well. Very talented director. He would later go on and make Prince of Persia, which is one of the biggest dog turd pieces of shit I've ever saw.
Yeah.
It's a terrible movie.
It's terrible.
It is a terrible movie. But Mike Newell's a very talented man. And Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, I hear people who don't like it, and when I hear that they don't like it, it's usually because they're fans of the book.
Yes. This is
Because
one way,
it cuts out the most.
well, and it also, they changed it the way characters respond.
So, but as a person who never read the book, as a movie-going experience, I enjoyed it because it was very concise, as Chad says.
Yeah.
It didn't stop. It doesn't repeat a lot of things. It was very easy to follow. It has a lot of action in it. I'm assuming this is the one I didn't get to rewatch.
And
What?
introduced to Brendan Gleeson.
Brendan Gleeson, who is one of the best actors of all time. By the
period.
way, everything through Harry Potter has some of the best actors of all
Oh
time.
yeah, no.
But Brendan Gleeson is fantastic.
Yeah, and
he's,
and
he's wonderful in Mr. Mercedes, by the way, if you ever get a chance. But keep going.
No, that's
It's just, as a film unto itself, I enjoyed it. I walked out of the theater going, oh, that was fun.
yeah. And tell me, and James,
So
and
I couldn't be...
what I read about, because I was kind of shocked. I never looked anything up on when I was watching the movies as to what people thought of them. But when we went back, since we were talking about this, because this is my favorite one, I actually enjoyed it. A lot of people have a problem with the Quidditch match in that one.
Yes, I do.
But why?
Because, we spend chapters building up this huge Quidditch match, and in the book you get to watch the entire match, and in the movie it's all the setup, and they're like, and this starts now, cut to next scene after. We don't get to see any Quidditch in that movie.
Oh.
Yeah, and a lot of people the Quidditch and actually the task, because the dragon fighting task, a lot of people got upset about that because in the book, he doesn't destroy Hogwarts fighting a dragon. Yeah. He actually manages to keep it in the arena. He more or less outsmarts the dragon with a little help from one of the Weasleys, which is Charlie Weasley is in the books, and he's in one postcard image in the movie.
Well, in the book is the fourth book's long, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And the studio wanted to do 2 movies out of it. Mike Newell just talked him out of it that he could cut enough bulky parts out of it. And actually, the guy that supposedly talked him through it was Alfonso Cuarón, the one who just directed the third one, who said, "No, that's what you would do." And he's the one who was like, "No, we're not doing 2 movies. We just did 1."
But it's really interesting that he extended some scenes that would have been shorter in the book, like the dragon fight scene is shorter in the book. And so he padded that to cut other stuff. It's really interesting.
Well, and he once again, he's making a movie.
Right.
Well, yeah, but he cut Winky.
Stop playing with yourself.
Well,
Chad's had his Winky out, rubbing it up against the other thing for a while. Stop rubbing your Winky.
That is actually a character in the 4th.
Well, there's seriously called Winkies all over the place.
It's a house.
Chad's been pulling his Winky out ever since we started this episode.
And actually, it's Dobby.
Wait till he gets out Twinkie and Knob.
It's actually Dobby that saves Harry Potter in that movie, in the book as well.
Okay.
He gives him the gillyweed and all that stuff.
Did he give his Winky the gillyweed? Because I've been looking for that for a long time.
Winky's kind of an alcoholic.
I know, right? You want to say things.
Yep.
But the other stuff...
Let's keep doing this.
Quit
wiping your Winky.
She's already touched on Oliver Wood and stuff like that.
Chad touched his Winky.
Yes, Joe. Rita Skeeter gets entirely cut.
No, she's
Who?
in it.
She's in it, but the Animagus part, the entire part about how she gets her how she is able to get all these quote-unquote
And you have
scoops.
Miranda Richardson.
Yeah. You could have done so much with that. And that's one of the things that this is actually the book that we just finished with my daughter, and she was like, why wasn't that in the movie? That's a major plot point about how she literally has been spying effectively and undermining everybody for years.
So the Goblet of Fire is the 2 towers of the Harry Potter universe?
See, yeah, but
I
it's
love
funny.
the 2 towers.
But I do not.
2 towers is my favorite one.
Yeah.
No, 2 towers is by no means. It is the 3rd out of the 3.
You're full.
Oh, it's absolutely
It is
perfect.
not.
I know what you mean.
It's not perfect in any which way. In fact, it has so much bullshit in it.
Well, I was actually, and they cut off...
2 Towers has the best fights.
They cut out
2 towers.
most of Ludo Bagman.
But most of it.
Like all of Ludo Bagman.
Because, and how he's in debt to everybody, how he has a gambling problem and all this stuff. And you read the book and it's I mean, he screws over the Weasleys of all people who can't afford to be screwed over.
Also, why does David Tennant have Tourette's?
I don't even remember David Tennant being in it.
He's Barty
the
Crouch
villain.
Jr. He's the villain.
Oh my god, I haven't watched it.
He's the one that's
How
great.
young is he in it?
About that young.
He's showing me a picture. He's showing me a meme of David Tennant licking his lips.
It's from the movie.
I have no recollection of that.
I don't think he does that in the books.
Because I was like,
No, that's what I said that he decided to ad lib.
That was the only thing that was the only problem that I had with that movie is why is he licking himself constantly? Why is he doing
They
that?
wanted the connection between him and fake Moody.
Yeah, but yeah.
But the maze at the end, in the book, the maze is so involved. It's not as big as it is in the movie. It's just contained to the Quidditch pitch.
Yeah.
And it has creatures that they face throughout the years.
Yeah.
Pitch! She said pitch.
Oh my god.
Took me a minute. Sorry.
She's a pitch. She's.
Are you singing Meryl Bainbridge?
Oh, was it?
That would be Mouth.
Mouth.
But you know what's funny? You know, I was
I
about
wrote
to
those
say
together.
who sung
I
bitch,
didn't even fit in that context.
and then
I don't know.
know
That's what got
thought of?
confused.
Meryl Bainbridge.
Yeah.
She sang Mouth. Speaking of that, let's move on. What other things do you all not like about the movie? And when people ask me the plot, here's the plot I remember. Oh, that's the one where the girls come over to play.
Okay, well that's not in the book. In the book, it's not an all-girl school, and Durmstrang's not an all-boys school.
Right?
Yeah.
Like Hogwarts have both.
But am I right?
Hey,
that's what I say the plot.
No,
That's the one where the
that's-
girls come over to
Hey,
play.
Well, no, somebody asked me the plot. I say it's Wizard Olympics.
That works
Well,
too, where the girls come over to
But
play.
you also get a lot more of like Hagrid and Madame
Maxine?
Yeah.
Madam X?
Madame Maxime. But basically, like, she is...
The giantess that's the head of Bobaton.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But you get a lot more of, like, she is
He's
a giantess and is
with
trying to
his
not do
elf. He's killing me softly with his saw.
it. With his saw.
And you have the Yule Ball.
Who?
The Yule Ball.
Yule
Yes.
Ball.
Christmas party.
Oh, yeah. Yule Ball. Shay.
But yeah, well, and even the play out of the movie, like, going back to the maze thing, Cedric saves Harry in the book. Not the other way around. The movie has to keep Harry as the hero, so Harry ends up saving Cedric until, he doesn't.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, you're right. The magical creatures that they have to fight and things they have to deal with there.
And Harry does not make it out of that maze uninjured.
No.
That's a rough maze for Harry.
Yeah.
In all fairness, he got emotionally scarred. Isn't that enough?
Well,
For you people.
Can I ask you all a question? So this is when we're introduced to who?
Tom Riddle.
We'd already met him.
Voldemort.
Well, in his, form.
In his form, who was played by Ralph Fiennes, not Ralph.
It's Rafe.
It's Ralph Fiennes. So he's played by Ralph Fiennes. I need to ask you, because as someone who's never read the book, how does he look in the book compared to the movie?
They pretty much get it.
Yeah.
I don't know that they got the eyes exactly, but otherwise.
So what is up with his nose and stuff?
He is so snake-like by this point from all of his various dark magic that he has become snake-like physically.
The only version of him that is somewhat human you see in the later film, which is when he's... Spoiler if you haven't seen it. Sorry, we'll get to it later. But in the last film, it's in the last.
Yeah, when
film.
he's the shriveled up,
Yeah,
like basically fetus.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah, see.
That's the there's a line actually in one of the books that says that's probably the only human part of him that's left, like
Right,
that representation.
Okay.
So
I was just curious. Well, the reason I was asking was two reasons. One, Mike Newell thought about taking some of the effects off, and it didn't work as well as what it did. But I was wondering how close to that is in the book and how much of the descriptor it was. So, I was curious.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much for killing that right there.
No, you got it. So.
no, I mean I don't know. You want me to lie? Well, Joe, originally he was going to have 4 pythons that shot out of his head. Oh my God! Can we write that movie?
It's not bad.
I didn't know, too, that Alfonso Cuarón was actually still offered to do that. I was looking it up, but he would actually have still been in post-production while he was getting this one ready. He would have still been post-production on Prisoner while he was still getting the next one ready.
Yep.
Yeah.
There you go. All right. Anything else about this movie, even though it's the one Chad and I like the most?
No, I mean it's
And this is the first one. This is the first one that doesn't have a John Williams score. It has the John Williams theme music because he wrote it and he did the music for the first 3. This is the one that has a different composer.
Yeah. Also, this is the first one that ends with like a death too, as well.
Yeah. Who dies?
Robert Pattinson.
That's who I said.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
It's kind of, at least in the books, it's a turning point. The series is much darker from the end of
Yeah,
the
That's where it goes full blown goth.
The first death, and then yes, everything does get. I mean, there's a lot of hints of darkness before that, but yes.
Right. And Harry feels responsible.
Everybody goes goth and emu.
Well, yeah, I mean...
Emu?
I said emu. They go turn into birds.
Taking us into Order of the Phoenix, Harry is a very angry character in that book, and that's downplayed in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, he is. Yeah.
So what is?
Oh, I didn't know this. Ray Winstone and Billy Connolly were both considered for the role of Mad Eye Moody.
Oh,
I didn't know that.
I did not know that. Oh. Yes. Several different interesting points. Only on the Bonehead. All right, so is it time for the next one?
Time for the next one.
So that was the Goblet of Fire. Now we need to move on to the Order of the... I'll have the Phoenix, please.
Oy.
And there's a few things. First of all,
keeping it now.
this is the first one that's not written by Stephen Close. It was written by Michael Goldenberg.
I didn't pay for
And
it.
the interesting...
He just pulled the tag off.
tag
He's
was still
sitting
on
there
it.
wearing his tag the whole
The
time.
interesting thing about this film, director-wise, is it's going to be directed by David Yates. David Yates was not a well-known director.
No.
Fairly plucked from obscurity. He's a British television director
He did some shorts too.
And for the most part, if I'm wrong about this, please correct me. David Yates would go on to direct everything else up until today. We are in the year of our Lord 2004.
And he signed on to do 5 Fantastic Beasts movies.
Right. So he directed Order of the Phoenix, Half-Blood Prince, the 2 Deathly Hallows, and so far the 2 Fantastic Beasts films, and nothing seems to be that we're not going to keep giving David Yates. So he's pretty much given the rest of his life to Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, isn't a bad way to go.
If you enjoy it and if you love it, probably not. Maybe I don't know why. But it seems to have worked out for him and I don't think the fans complain about him. I've never heard, oh my God, remove David Yates.
No, as I say, he has a very consistent feel. And I think that's one of the things, to have a consistent hand at the rudder of building this universe.
I would make an interesting point of, in movies, these are stereotypes, but they're fairly true. When it comes to stage, right, actor's medium. When it comes to television, it's the writer's medium, right? Whoever the EP, the executive producer, is, the head writer is, very much calls the shots. And when it comes to movies, it's the director. We all agree on that for the most part. I feel, though, Harry Potter may very well be an opposite on this one. Specifically when we get into Fantastic Beasts. I really think this is J.K. at the rudder. And maybe the producer, David Heyman.
Yeah.
What do you think?
100%.
Yes. That this isn't... Yes, you probably have a somewhat of input. So, for example, Kevin Smith, you were talking about, you like The Flash, right? Yeah. And he likes directing The Flash and Supergirl. But he has actually made... I watched his stand-up special the other day, and he talked about leaving for the wide shot. And the first AD going, well, that's one way to direct. To go get burgers for the crew. They are shooting.
Yeah.
He went to the drive-thru, came back, who cares? This is television. I'm told what to do, and I go yes and no.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Get the shot, move
along. So, that being said, what do you all like about this movie? What do you don't? I just wanted to throw out the David Yates. This is where it starts getting so convoluted.
Yeah, God bless.
Gonna have more questions.
I don't know that I could put questions together because if you haven't read the books...
Well, here's the thing, too. To me, I think, actually addresses some of the questions people had about the earlier ones. Like, have you ever wondered why in the world Aunt Petunia just doesn't kick out Harry and be like, you're not living with us anymore?
Well,
he comes back every year, yeah.
He comes back every year. Why is he there?
Well, that's because...
And towards the end, they're very kind.
As I say, and that's because you find out in this letter that basically they're under threat from Dumbledore. If anything happens to Harry while he's there, because she basically, they're going to kick him out. They're tired of him talking about magic, and Harry's trying to warn them. Lord Voldemort is back. Is back. But all this stuff, and then they send a screecher. What is it? A howler, and it's just.
I dated one of those once.
And it literally just opens, and it says. It just says, remember my last Petunia.
It wasn't for me.
Remember my last Petunia. And then she immediately goes, Harry has to stay here. He just can't go outside anymore. And so you never get the full story, I don't think, about what the threat is. But Dumbledore is going to mess them up if they let anything happen to Harry. And they don't have magic to defend themselves. So they have actually, again, it three-dimensionalizes these characters that if you, they've been abusive to Harry, but they've kept the letter of the law, keeping him safe.
Aunt Petunia has some serious character growth if you step back and look at it from all 7.
Because she has to, the second that she lets anything happen to him, she has to face Dumbledore. And if we know nothing else, Dumbledore is the wizard you don't mess with.
And have they ever explained why? Because if Harry Potter is supposed to be this big savior and he's supposed to save everything, Dumbledore and everybody who was watching him from birth let him be abused, thrown in a closet.
They explain that.
Okay, good. Because I'm with Chad.
That's one thing that killed me. That's one of my questions is why.
Well, answer it. Can you answer it quickly? Because we still have 14 more movies.
The short answer is Dumbledore does not want him to grow up being a celebrity for something he can't even remember. He wants him to grow up away from all of that until a time when he is ready.
Okay.
And that is Harry's only other family.
And it's the idea also.
It still doesn't answer. I'm with Chad. He could have put him with a regular home with regular people that wouldn't have made it miserable.
Or it's the idea, though, that suffering is what's going to preserve him. That if he grew up normally when he encountered these horrible things, he wouldn't be prepared.
And as we're talking about this, Dumbledore is probably not an overly sympathetic character. He puts Harry Potter through the ringer. in a sense, right?
Well, that's what I mean.
And he thinks Harry Potter is going to die.
Yeah.
Does he not think Harry Potter is going to die?
Well, and and this is the entire thing. I guess we can go ahead and bring it in.
Yeah.
The Neville Longbottom is really is to me a more tragic character than Harry is, because Neville Longbottom's parents are still alive, but they were tortured to the level of insanity, and they're in St. Mungo's. Mm-hmm. Mungo, but got pawn in Game of Life.
I was getting ready to do it. I was.
Greatest Richard Pryor line of all time, not uttered by Richard Pryor.
And Neville visits them all the time. It talks about it in the book, but the tragedy is he has his parents, but they don't know him.
Huh.
They are so psychologically damaged, so he just goes there and sits and stares at his parents.
All right.
And that's so all of these characters that you have, I mean, and Dumbledore was involved in that and all of that stuff. So I think you're right. Dumbledore is not, and maybe that's why I do have a trouble with him being kind of the goofy wizard, the way Gambon plays him, because he's
I don't know that he plays him goofy.
But he's a cold, calculating.
I think he's more cold and calculating. I just think he's got a different thing going on. I did not mean goofy at all.
No, but anyway, I think that's it. I think you're right,
quirky.
though. I think that
he's quirky.
I think that that Dumbledore, you're right. I mean, if you look at Dumbledore throughout the book, he is a heroic character, but he is also a very, very, very flawed.
He's very calculated.
Yeah, but he at the same time, like I was saying, I think it's the idea that he knew if he grew up as a celebrity for something he didn't know, it would affect him. If he grew up a certain way, it would affect him. But if he grew up suffering, then the suffering that was coming wouldn't be as bad.
There's also a protective magic that applies until he's of age. Every time he's at the Dursleys, he's safe.
Yeah.
The only time that really comes into threat is in the 5th book when Dementors show up.
Yeah.
In Little Winter.
Well, what is the Order of the Phoenix about? Quick.
Do you know what the Order of the Phoenix is?
No.
Okay, so
I don't know that I completely understand it.
Back when Voldemort was in power, before we have Harry Potter, a group of wizards and witches got together and said, we're not going to let this happen, we're going to stand up, we'll be the good guys. Dumbledore created the Order of the Phoenix.
Right.
And when Voldemort fell from power, there was really no need for them anymore, but they still were ready to go at a moment's notice. Voldemort's back. Nobody believes Harry and Dumbledore about this, but the Order of the Phoenix gets together and they believe him.
Okay.
And a little bit you get the after if we fold in Fantastic Beasts, from Crimes of Grindelwald, you find out the Order of the Phoenix is effectively tied to Dumbledore.
Okay.
There you go.
So, what are your problems with this? Now, once again, I think this is where it gets so damn convoluted.
Yeah.
I can't pay it.
You can't. You're watching the movie and I have no idea what's going on.
I mean, I could get it. I get shades of it, and I understand this is the bad guy and this is the good person. But they start the names become so obscure. The things, and this is probably if you're a fan, better. What's your favorite movie, Haley, out of all of them?
I want to say Prisoner of Azkaban because we got David Thewlis out of it.
Okay. James?
3 is my favorite book, for sure.
I was going to say, it may be Prisoner of Azkaban as well, because I agree. I think there's enough going on there to...
You guys realize that movie sucked? I just told you earlier.
But you said all of them did, except...
Goblet of Fire, yeah. Apparently we have poor taste in Potter movies.
Apparently.
Well, 4 would be my second favorite.
You know what my third favorite is? Plain old vanilla. I'm joking. That's number 1.
So Order of the Phoenix has probably one of the last clear standalone villains.
Which is?
Umbridge, who was their first female defense against the Dark Arts teacher, and quite possibly the worst of the group.
Right.
And I think it's really funny that Umbridge... I was talking to somebody...
Once again, last name, Umbridge.
Yeah.
I was talking to somebody, and they were talking about being on call for housing. This ties to Harry Potter problem. And they were talking about, well, the way we have our system set up is we have 2 on-call phones. And you have Snape. Being on call with Snape isn't too bad. That's only your area. But what you don't want is Umbridge. Umbridge, it's a campus on call. Because if you've got Umbridge, you ain't doing anything all weekend. And I was like, that's a pretty good comparison.
I mean, they take away some of the stuff. She's almost kinder in the movie than she is in the book.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. They tone her down a little bit for the movie. She is intense.
Well, she's bitch.
And they don't actually say in the movie why Dementor showed up at the beginning. I don't think it's said in there, but it's because she does not believe Harry and Dumbledore, so she sends Dementors to discredit Harry and get him kicked out of school.
Right.
Huh.
Yeah. Yeah.
So she's the John Vernon.
Yeah. That's
Animal House.
Yeah,
That's
Dean Warmer, but...
Super secret probation.
Harry Potter is on double secret probation.
Thank you.
Dean Warmer, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. So, what else do we have to say? Are we ready to move on to the Half-Blood Prince?
James gave us something really good. I'm gonna go fix the cameras.
I'm going to sit here and eat popcorn and pretend I'm someplace else.
I'll just sit here and do this. Good.
Beat sure is pretty.
Oh my god. No, I mean there's a lot.
Put that whale down.
There's no. Put that whale. Really. Spew comes more into play in the book. Creature comes more into play. Creature is another of the elves, house elves that you love so much. But he's basically the bad one. Let's just call him as he is.
You're not adding anything to this?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to.
I'm ready to have some Half-Blood.
Dobby does appear in the book. He doesn't appear in the movie. And,
thank God. Or David Yates.
He's actually the one that finds the room of requirements for for Harry. So Dobby, once again, in the books, is more pivotal in finding them a place to practice, to build the army up, to do stuff like that. But he's got a thing. You get a little bit more of the centaurs in the book, and all of that stuff as well. Teacher. Yeah.
Centaur.
So, because you see the centaurs in the movie, maybe 2 or 3 times? Mm-hmm. Like, it's one gets shot, one does this, and all that stuff. But
they save Harry in the first one.
Yeah. And then, Umbridge has a scene, with the centaurs, right?
Yes.
But you get much more of them. And the attack on Mr. Weasley gets more attention in the book.
All right.
Because he
was supposed to die in that scene in the book, and she decided she loved the character too much to kill him.
Yeah.
Huh.
So other people that I love die in the 7th one.
So let's move right along to the Half-Blood Prince. Once again, directed by David Yates, and this time we bring back old man Steve Kloves. I've not found out why Steve Kloves did not write the 5th one. I need to find out. Yeah. Go ahead. We're talking about the Half-Blood Prince. Who is the Half-Blood Prince? That's Harry Potter, right?
No, but that's kind of the plot line of the entire movie.
So who's the Half-Blood?
Snape.
Snape's Half-Blood Prince. See, he's a Muggle, and him being a Muggle, and yeah, think about that. Knowing who he eventually, sort of works for, sort of doesn't. The fact that he won over Voldemort.
Not a Muggle. He's Muggle-born.
Well, I'm sorry. He's a Mug-blood. Throwing out slurs there.
He's not even that.
We don't say that around here, sir.
No,
Judo shop.
He actually is completely. You're right.
He has some wizarding. Not sure if it's mom or dad.
So, the story is he goes ahead and he kills who? Who's he kill again?
Spoiler
alert! Harry Potter dies in the 5th book.
We're on 6.
We're on 6.
Holy cow!
This episode's flying by.
This episode of Dobby, I tell you.
This week on Dobby. Oh my God! I want a Magnum PI show with like Dobby.
No, I wanted to. Yes, what's the 6th one? So the Half-Blood Prince is Snape.
The 6th one has several. Yes.
And he kills off that one guy.
Yeah. Yes, he does.
Played by Richard Curtis.
Sure.
Richard Curtis directed one of my favorite films, Love Actually. Keep going.
Never seen it.
You shall.
Side conversation. Anyway, so Half-Blood Prince kind of has 3 storylines going on at the same time. We've got backstory on your favorite, Tom Riddle.
Yeah.
We also have a whole lot of teen romance that really doesn't add much to the overall story.
Yeah.
Hermione.
And then we have Draco Malfoy actually getting a storyline where he's got the death mark, he's become a Death Eater, and Voldemort said, "Great, you're going to kill Dumbledore for me." And Malfoy doesn't want to do that.
He's conflicted.
He
so
does not want
why
to
is Malfoy not completely evil like Jason Isaacs? From this point on, I'm referring to them as their actor names. I get confused.
With that. James, do you know why?
I don't remember.
I don't know that's ever actually said. I just kind of got the impression he decided he didn't want to be that.
Why? But he hates Harry Potter.
True.
Well, Harry Potter is #1 son to Dumbledore. He likes him.
So basically, if Malfoy does not kill Dumbledore, Voldemort will have him killed.
Right.
I understand that. I'm asking you, why does he not want to kill Dumbledore? I think if J.K. was a better writer, she'd have figured this shit out. Whereas Chad and I wouldn't said, here was smoke coming off her Goram heads.
But I think also, though, I mean, literally, how many people...
That's right, Peter fans.
How many 15, 16-year-olds would be like, okay, here, I'm going to need you to go kill your principal.
And not just the principal. This is Dumbledore.
Yeah.
This is one of the greatest wizards of all time. Malfoy does not stand really a chance.
No, that's true.
So why does he pick Malfoy? Is it because he's the least likely? He doesn't see Malfoy coming towards him.
He has a close connection to Dumbledore, and I also think it's to punish Malfoy's parents.
Yeah. That he'll forever bear that mark of being...
Yeah.
Why is he trying to punish Malfoy's parents?
Because when Voldemort left from power, a lot of his followers, the Death Eaters, were like, "Oh, I was cursed. It wasn't. I didn't choose to be that way." And Lucius is one of those where he denied ever willingly following Voldemort. Voldemort came back, called everybody together. He's like, "Lucius, you betrayed me." And Lucius is like,
They
"No,
do have
I
that
didn't."
great scene at the table, right, with all of them.
Yes.
Yes.
And that's actually... there's a scene there's a couple scenes like that in the books, because one happens at the
I
graveyard.
call it the Untouchables Al Pacino scene.
One happens at
You know what I'm talking about.
One
The
happens...
baseball bat.
One happens...
That's a better movie. De Palma.
You said Al Pacino? That's Robert De Niro?
I said Robert De Niro. I know. I said Al Pacino. I meant to say Robert De Niro.
I thought you were trying. I heard Al Capone.
But, some of the stuff... some of the...
That's what I said, Al Capone. You go back and rewind it. Capone.
Because there's some stuff that happens in some of the previous books, like you do get more Peter Pettigrew, you get more stuff like that. And Peter Pettigrew, arguably, is the reason Voldemort fully made it back in some ways. Because
you could make the case that Harry is the reason because he let Pettigrew escape.
Well, and that comes up in the book. That's how Peter Pettigrew actually gets killed. Is because Harry reminds him, "Hey, I'm the one that actually, you wouldn't be alive without me," and it causes Peter Pettigrew to pause, and then he's killed by his own hand.
Peter Pettigrew pause.
But there's some stuff that gets cut out of the movie.
Alliteration.
You do lose a lot of. We know that Tom Riddle, Voldemort.
Every
Mother
time you say Tom Riddle, I want to end it with "Cats in the Cradle."
The silver spoon.
Mother,
the boy blue with the man on the moon.
We know that his
Why?
father was a Muggle, but this book gave us the history of his mother, who was of the House of Gaunt.
As a Sirius Black.
I am from the House of Chubbs.
James is from the House of Gout.
Still got these working ankles, so.
Haley would be from the House of Gaunt.
But so I mean, some of that stuff that gets cut.
No, we're just waiting.
No, I'm trying to think of some of the other stuff that becomes a little bit more relevant. That again, if you've read the book, because Yates did build in a couple of references to the House of Gaunt, but you have to have read the books to get them. There's a shot of a ring. There's a shot of stuff like that. So there's shots that if you've read the book, you go, oh, okay, yeah, that's obviously the Gaunt family crest. But if you haven't,
I'm awake.
So anyway,
keep playing with your little house elf.
What do you got, Haley?
Pudnucker. Yes.
I have no idea. I just totally forgot what I was going to say.
Well, do you want to move off the Half-Blood
okay,
Prince?
that's it. So why does Snape kill Dumbledore?
Yes. Why does Snape kill Dumbledore? He's the Half-Blood Prince, you said. That's
He's
Snape.
the Half-Blood Prince because when he was at Hogwarts, he took a potions book, made all of his notes in it, labeled it as property of the Half-Blood Prince, and Harry just happens to get that book when he goes to his new potions class, and all of a sudden he's excellent in potions, which, if you've read the books, you know that is not the case.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Harry is a fair to middling student.
Yeah.
I mean, Hermione's the A+ student. Ron's kind of the legacy. I mean, he's from a wizarding family. He's an
He's
okay
the
student.
legacy.
Which I never. And
Are you
again,
saying he's Flounder?
Harry
We
Potter.
need the dudes!
Harry Potter's supposed to be the savior of all mankind,
But
or
he's
wizard
not.
kind, and he's sea level at best.
Oh, no, and he's not a great wizard. He just happens to be, and again, it's another reason Dumbledore hid him away and stuff, because he doesn't.
Needed time.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
Huh.
But yes, Snape makes an unbreakable vow with Malfoy's mother, where it says basically if Malfoy, for whatever reason, is not capable of killing Dumbledore, you have to fill in the task so Voldemort does not kill Draco.
Mm-hmm.
And we get up to the end, we get to the Astronomy Tower, Dumbledore is up there and he says, "Severus, please." And so Snape kills him to protect Malfoy.
Yeah.
But there's a twist.
Well, does
Dumbledore
he-
was already dying.
Yeah, he had
so what's
the
the
infection.
So does that in the book?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So he
Dumbledore's
is dying.
already died, but people don't know that, so it looks like Snape just is cold-blooded.
Yeah, because in the book,
I-
remember the wizard hand, not wizard hand. That's different.
Hand of Glory.
Yeah, it's decaying. And I mean, that will
Found
spread.
the hand of
'Cause
glory when I was
think it is-
13.
Well,
I think
it's in Deathly Hallows Part 2.
Yeah, where he actually says, I'm
Yeah.
slowing it, but it's going to progress.
Right.
He knows it's coming.
And you know
So-
that Snape is helping him slow it.
Well, and once again, I don't, you got that. For me, the reason Snape does it is to get in good with
Voldemort.
Voldemort.
Yeah, I mean it's.
But at the
Great
same
strategic
time,
move.
And that he and Dumbledore always knew that he was going to be the one that killed him, so he could get in with Voldemort.
well, and it also goes back to,
I don't know. That's what I took
but
away
throughout
from,
the
from
books,
not reading the books.
like throughout the books, you also know, well, and throughout the movies, even Snape is also in some ways going to save Harry in as many ways as he can. Even in the first movie, if he really hated Harry that much, he would have let Voldemort, who was sitting behind him doing the spell to cause him to crash, and who's mumbling the counter spell? It's Snape.
Yeah.
And in the third one, it's not really in the books, and I don't know if this was an Alan Rickman choice or what. When he wakes up coming out of the Whomping Willow and there's a werewolf, he instinctively moves to protect Hermione, Ron, and Harry. Don't know whose choice that was, but Snape at the end of the day is protecting the kids.
Huh. So, and Snape is that great anti-hero, because
yeah.
you can't hate Snape. Partially, in the movie, that's because Alan Rickman plays him so well. But even in the books, the kids reading it went, well, he's not very... And I'm like, well, no, he's a teacher. He's trying to get them to pay attention in class. He's trying to do some stuff like that, and they want to go...
He's not their friend.
No.
No.
No, he's very much that...
He's much more of a parent.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Well, it's hard for me to ever say that he is totally a good guy because he does bully Neville.
That's true. And like I said, Neville to me is Neville is the Charles Dickens character of Harry Potter. He literally suffers so much.
Okay.
And he
rarely says a word about it.
and has no fame. Like, you gotta think about it. Harry Potter is the Rolling Stones. Neville's a member of the Turtles. Look it up, kids. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, it was funny the way you said it. Sorry.
It's has done things that people still know the lyrics to, but it will never be. And he lost everything to the same war.
He lost everything to Bellatrix.
Yeah.
Essentially. I don't know that that's stated in the movies, but it is Bellatrix that drives
Yeah.
his parents insane.
And that
Well, she's part of
tortured
the group.
that's my wife's favorite scene is when the Weasleys when Mama Weasley takes down
Oh
Bellatrix.
yeah, we'll get there.
All right, so let's start talking about the Deathly Hallows. The book's so big that Warner Brothers decided that we could do
Cash
cash grab and do 2 movies. So
we
you don't
do-
really get an answer.
So yeah, let's do Deathly Hallows Part 1 where it's sitting around and moping.
I feel like you're gonna have questions on this one because I tried watching them from the I
don't
haven't read
have
the books perspective. That movie makes no sense.
The problem is
there's
there's not an ending. It is just a cash grab.
It's literally they're just sitting around
A
moping
lot of talking, a lot of going to the lake, and here's some water, and there's some snow.
for over 2 hours.
Right? I'm not making any of this up.
And they're trying to find the pieces that have Voldemort's
the
soul,
Horcruxes.
which is his soul,
Yeah.
because he, in order to come,
And
to
the
survive-
Horcruxes have been brought up before. We haven't talked about them
yeah, because
here.
in order to escape death, he separates himself into
soul into several different Horcruxes.
Yeah,
Right.
Technically, we're told one would do, but he wants to ensure that he will not ever die, so he has 7.
Mm-hmm.
Going back real quick to Half-Blood Prince,
Yes, sorry.
the burrow is not destroyed in the book. That was a scene added for the movie.
Oh, really?
Yes. Anyway, back to the 7th one.
So I'm with Chad. That's as a fan, it's the reason. And so I've mentioned on here several times before. I'm a Tolkien fan. One of my problems with Harry Potter is there's a lot she lifted a lot from, but Tolkien lifted a lot from other people, and I can make that argument, right?
yeah.
That's not a problem. I'll let it go. But I will throw and lob the same criticism at Deathly Hallows that I will lob at The Hobbit. There is no reason for there to be 3 Hobbit films.
No, I agree with that.
There is no reason. As enjoyable as some of the scenes are, we could have told that whole thing in one good 3-hour movie. 2, if you had to do it. But there is no reason for The Hobbit to be in 3.
Yeah, and there was no reason for Deathly Hallows to be 2 movies.
2 movies. If you were going to do them that way, then you should have just done a long series on HBO to get all that stuff in there. I understand that. Or you could have split some of the movies up before. But I feel a movie should have, and it's one of the criticisms that Empire Strikes Back, which is my favorite Star Wars film, and I think it's a legitimate criticism, is that the middle film always ends up not being the ending. And Joss Whedon has criticized Empire Strikes Back for this. And one of his problems is there's no ending. That a movie should have an ending. Yeah, you can have a sequel, but that movie, that particular story should have. And there's not much of an ending. Now, I will lob it back and go, it has one of the greatest reveals of any trilogy of any time. Would you say?
I often feel that way with Bonehead, where I'm like, it's a two-parter. It doesn't end anywhere.
We don't end it very well?
Oh, no, when we have a guest and we're like, we're just going to cut it in the middle. Oh, that's not a good ending.
Yeah.
Oh, well, we'll make it work.
We'll make it work. We'll fix it in post.
Yeah.
So, it's just a cash grab to me. And for the fans, it's serviceable because they get more time with these characters that they love.
Yeah.
Right? And these actors and whatnot. So I get that. And so they're going to go see it no matter what. But it is a cash grab.
Yeah, that's all it was.
They could have done a 3-hour movie.
And
they could have done a 3-hour Harry Potter Deathly Hallows film.
And then because that was successful, we have 2 Hunger Game movies. I mean, it started. Avengers: Infinity Wars, 2 movies.
Yeah.
Well, Twilight.
You could lob it at everyone.
Yeah. But Harry Potter started it.
But you have to look that up.
You know, some of the other things that pop out of this, that if they were going to do 2 films, they cut some stuff they didn't have to cut.
Yeah.
Like, in the books, they know what's going on at Hogwarts because Hermione is smart enough to go, wait a second, these pictures talk. They steal the painting, of course, paintings talk and all that stuff, of the first headmaster, right?
I think so. It's definitely one of them.
It's Phineas Black, again, which also sets in that line that
I think he's the first. But...
the Black family, Sirius Black and all, are built into the history of Hogwarts.
Mm-hmm.
So you get kind of that backstory as well. And that's how they know, because he still technically is at Hogwarts. So he tells them, well, this is what's going on. Mm-hmm. So they know what's going on. So they know what their timetable looks like. Whereas if you just watched a movie, how do they know they only have 20 minutes or whatever?
Right.
And
you okay, Chad?
I'm just biting nails. I'm anticipating.
So, Deathly Hallows Part 1, you get a lot of... It's basically setting up for the end.
Right.
Yeah,
we have a new headmaster at Hogwarts.
Right.
We have a new Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher again.
Again. Can't keep anybody in that position.
No.
They may want to rewrite the JAQ.
Yeah.
And by this time, Voldemort has pretty much taken over everything.
And do you know why they can't keep a Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher?
No, why?
Because it's the Dark Arts?
Because Voldemort applied for the position, and he was told no because Dumbledore never fully trusted him, and so he put a curse, a jinx on the position, so no one could hold it for more than a year. Again, this is something Dumbledore knew and still hired people for the role.
Yeah, it wasn't that wasn't in the JAQ. No. That was under other duties as a sign.
So, moving right along, Deathly Hallows Part 2. So, we just want to talk about this as one long movie, please.
Yes, Chad.
What happened to Brendan Gleeson's character? He just disappeared.
Okay, he gets killed. Sorry.
He doesn't get killed in the movie. He even shows up when they're leaving the house, when they all go with Harry Potter.
But he disappears after that.
Right.
You never see him again.
All we get is Bill Weasley coming in and saying Mad Eye's dead, which is great because that's Domhnall Gleeson, that's Brendan Gleeson's son.
Well, that's what I was about to say, is Domhnall Gleeson. By the way, I was rewatching it the other day. I was like, oh my God, Domhnall's in there, which is Brendan Gleeson's son.
But he's the son, in the movie, he's the son of
Molly and Arthur Weasley.
Yeah.
He's not Mad Eye's son.
Oh,
yeah.
Damn.
But he just comes in and he's like, Mad Eye's dead, and the actor's like, that's my only
Domhnall,
line.
much better looking than his dad.
Yeah. Well, we haven't seen a young Brendan Gleeson. He might have been...
So the seven,
not much of a looker,
the Battle
I
of the
would
Seven
imagine.
Potters. They take six stand-ins, give them polyjuice potions. So we have Harry and 6 duplicate Harrys.
Yep.
They're all partnered off with somebody else.
And they're all going out.
And the person that is riding with Mad Eye panics and disapparates and leaves Mad Eye alone, who gets killed in the middle of the battle, so he never arrives.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and
they don't kill him in the movie.
And, well, they say Mad Eye's dead.
Yeah,
that is Mad Eye.
I don't remember.
Isn't Domhnall's only line.
Hold on a sec. Joe, young Brendan Gleeson.
He's still not as good looking as Domhnall.
Oh.
Okay.
And
he put on some weight.
This is the movie or in the book, this is where Peter Pettigrew dies. So if you watch he doesn't die in the movie.
Does he not? Couldn't remember.
No, he's technically. I guess it never says exactly what happens to him, but in the book, he has to cut off his hand to bring back Dumbledore to physical form. So he sacrifices his hand, and Voldemort, he has to cut off his hand to bring Voldemort back.
T silent, jackass.
Yeah, you're the one that brought
Not
it
in
up.
the movies. Not in the movies we're talking about. Anyway,
Pumpkin eater.
Flesh of the servant willingly given.
yes,
Peter.
that's the line. Flesh of the servant willingly given.
I thought she was offering something. Sorry, keep going.
And then, so he gives his hand, and
I got
of
$20.
course, Voldemort promises that he'll give him a new hand, which he makes him suffer for a while around the cauldron, and then finally,
Peter's like, look, I did this for you. I did this for you. He's like, that's great. Moving on.
and then he actually, and this is another time when he picks on his people that did show up when he does the Call of the Death Eaters, and he's like, this spot's empty, and he's sitting there bleeding out his arm. There should be people here. There should be people, and he just goes around and
And he
basically
turns back to him. He's like, oh, he's going to do something now. He's like, and Harry's here. And there's just Peter on the ground bleeding,
bleeding
out.
out.
Like,
And at the last second, he gives him
That's in the fourth one.
a hand, a silver. It's
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
Just
silver.
lifts him right on up, you say.
a silver hand. But
Well, give the man
And-
a hand.
in the book,
RoboCop.
in the book,
It's a better movie.
Now, that was the hand he'd already cut off a finger for, right?
yeah, which is why he was missing the paw or the pad. Anyway,
That was a great twist.
but
What a twist!
in the end, he in the book, which may be hard to do in the movie, when he won't immediately kill Potter, when Potter says, "I'm the reason you're alive," blah blah, I helped save you. He pauses, and immediately the hand turns on him and kills him.
Okay.
So it's I mean, he's tortured by his own hand, which, see, he was the hand of Voldemort.
The hand of Voldemort.
Kills him.
Which makes him the third Marauder to die.
Yeah.
They die in reverse order of the listing on the map.
Yep. So there you go.
All right, let's talk about the ending. Let's get moving. I'm just saying.
Let's get to part 8.
Because we still have to do Fantastic Beasts a little bit. So, they get, and we're doing well.
Yeah, we're doing
So
okay.
we get to the end. Harry Potter and Snape. Now I'm Grimwald. What's his name again?
Voldemort. Voldemort.
Saruman.
Megatron.
Judas.
Judas. Yes. Who wins?
Actually, originally,
I swear,
initially,
I didn't get to watch the ending, and I remember
initially Voldemort.
I watched it on. I stopped going to the theater to watch them,
Initially, Voldemort wins.
and I watched the Deathly Hallows Part 2 on a cruise ship.
Initially, Voldemort wins, and Harry wakes up in what looks like the train
King's
station.
Cross, yeah.
Yeah, King's Cross Station. And Dumbledore is on a bench and says, and that's when he shows him the malformed Voldemort.
Mm-hmm.
And
This is in the movie.
Yes.
and he says, you can either get on, he goes, what happens if I get on the train? And he says, I suspect, I forget the exact line, but it's a pretty well delivered line. I expect you'll move on. And he goes, but I have to go back, don't I? Well, that's your choice. And so, I mean, it would have been, that would have been the what if I would have liked to see if Harry went, yeah, no, I'm dead, that's cool.
Well, he had to come back because there was still one more Horcrux.
Yeah.
So interestingly, at least to me, there are 7 Horcruxes and 7 different people take them out. Harry does not take out a single Horcrux past
No.
the second book.
Well, doesn't he take out himself because he kind of goes there
Voldemort
and
takes him out.
well, but he just stands there. He doesn't actually put up a fight. He's just like,
Right,
okay,
but
I'm here.
technically Voldemort kills one of his own Horcruxes.
Yeah.
And here leads me to the one complaint I will have about the ending.
If
of
this is going
this.
to be Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark, it still would have worked out.
That's a good one.
Interdimensional beings.
Now, that's a good one. If Indiana hadn't got involved, whatever, the Nazis would have taken themselves out. But yes, I understand. That's a good point. The other good point is the same thing, only I think Tolkien does it better if you read the books. Not so much for the movie. Is that why didn't she kill Harry Potter? Because I feel it's a better ending of Harry Potter sacrificing himself. Now, I know you've gotten attached to this character, that there's millions, hundreds of millions of children that would have cried. But they would have taken it with them for the rest of their lives.
But I think the flip side of that is
Already cried.
Harry does in some ways, I mean,
he has children?
yeah, but he's never the same. He never finishes school.
And this is something that comes close to what she's ripping from Tolkien with the same thing of Frodo. Only I think Tolkien does it better. Now, I've not read the book, but in my opinion, Frodo never recovers. And Frodo goes to the Grey Island. No, hold on. What's it called again?
He basically moves on.
He moves on. He
Yeah.
moves
It's the
on.
afterlife, and
In a what sense? I mean, and Middle Earth becomes human for the most
Yeah.
part. But Frodo moves on. But Frodo is sick. Frodo is never 100%, and I feel that there's much more agony in the book of that Frodo will die, never whole again, than you get from the movies.
Yeah.
But there's a whole other act to them that they cut out, which makes sense why they did it. I don't know that you feel that for Harry Potter.
No, he ends up having a great life. He has
kids,
he gets married. He marries the Weasley.
I think when you go back and look at it, though, if you read the book, like...
I'm talking about the movie.
But again, filling in from the book, he never finishes school. He never actually graduates from Hogwarts. Him or Ron, neither one do, right?
I don't think Hermione does either.
Or she goes back and finishes her newts, though, or her whatever her test is.
No,
Well, what did they do for 11? They ain't got no education.
They become what?
Aurors. I have trouble saying that word, but A-U-R-O-R.
Yeah.
The new minister, we go through a whole slew of ministers for magic, but the new one says, you've just done all this, don't worry about any WTs, come work for me.
And I was going to say, and if you go Pottermore, which is where J.K. Rowling has continued the story, she posts short stories, she finally did reveal what, I think Hermione eventually does finish hers and becomes a professor, but you're right, the other two never really... And the biggest fear, and it shows how it's kind of strained their family to a certain point, because even J.K. Rowling says she almost would consider, writing a chapter where basically Ron and Hermione get divorced, and there's all this other, because, what does that look like? But Harry Potter's son, his biggest fear, what if I'm sorted into Slytherin? Well, then be the best Slytherin you can be.
And can we just talk about that for a second? He names this kid Albus Severus Potter.
Yeah.
And says that you're named after the two bravest men I knew. Those are the two he's going to pick. What happened to Hagrid? What happened to Mr. Weasley?
And actually, Hagrid, I think, is the most sympathetic character throughout all of the books because he is unwanted just about everywhere. Mm-hmm. He deals with constant bias. Like the one giantess, Madame Maxime, when he even says, "Are you part giant?" she gets gravely offended that he would even mention being a giant near her because giants are so slimy and frowned upon and all that stuff. And, he gets kicked out of Hogwarts himself. He never gets to graduate from Hogwarts. That's why he's only a groundskeeper. I mean, and so I think that's... I mean, when you look at a lot of the characters, I think the way that the Harry Potter, kind of the way the story... And I will admit, Cursed Child, I haven't seen.
yeah.
But I think... I think when you...
it's the twilight of the...
I think when you...
Not my favorite.
I think when you look at...
I'm sorry, it's the 50 Shades of Grey of the twilight. Sorry.
There you go.
I think that when you really look at so much of it, it gets really... I mean, he doesn't die, but he never... I feel like he never has that trust again.
Why didn't she kill him?
Because I think she'd done it.
I don't think she could have, because in Order of the Phoenix, we're told the prophecy says neither can live while the other... One had to die. And Voldemort is the one that dies, which means the other one lives.
Yeah. And then the flip side of it is he did die briefly.
Yeah.
I mean,
and at the end of the day, it is supposed to be good for
and Gandalf comes back.
That's what I'm saying. But if you think about it, like he has...
I think he should have killed... God forbid I say anything negative to Tolkien, who's been dead long ago and has had more influence on this world than I ever will.
He
probably should have killed Frodo.
Well, and actually, and then you get into the entire thing of, so Bilbo had
George R. Martin would have killed Frodo.
George R. Martin, I'm just waiting for...
And that is the reason why he wrote the Song of Fire and Ice.
Yeah.
Is because as much as he loved Tolkien, his problem was, shouldn't people die in the real world? Why don't they die? Right? He has said it before.
If you read not to get into Game of Thrones, but if you read Game of Thrones, and I think that Harry Potter does something similar in some ways, in that, it's aimed at kids, but death starts at the end of the third book or fourth book? I know fourth. I mean, probably by the time you're 12 years old, you're going to have gone to a funeral.
Yeah, it's perfect. She's a genius. She is a...
I'm not comparing this person to
my God,
Tolkien.
you're gonna pull your Great Gatsby. It's the same story.
No, I'm going to pull Joss Whedon.
Joss Whedon, yes.
So Joss Whedon gets a lot of criticism for him killing off characters, and I'm probably gonna butcher this quote, but Josh Whedon said, "I don't kill people, God does."
Which is funny because I'm sure he's a known atheist, right?
So I mean, basically what it's saying is it's the nature of reality that people die.
People die.
And
it's sometimes your favorite person, and it's sometimes way too soon. Well, hold on. If your favorite, this is going to be very sappy, but if it's your favorite person, it's always never not too soon.
Yeah,
right.
Well, and
it's always too soon.
I think the other side of it too, though, is you could argue that, and as we've already talked about, you could argue that Harry Potter has, not to sound metaphysical, but has repeatedly died. Like he loses his parents. That's the end of what would have been his normal life.
Right. Well, he's lived many different lives that would have probably have been for. Yes, I agree with
and
that.
then he finally he has his godfather who says, "Would you like to?" In the book, they make a big deal. Would you like to come live with me? And it's like Sirius is thinking he may say no.
He's just thinking that he probably likes life with the Dursleys. He doesn't know any different.
Yeah, because he was never allowed to know. Because they knew if Sirius knew that he was being abused, Sirius would screw what Dumbledore says. I'm gonna hurt him.
Because Sirius is in love with who?
What?
Huh?
What?
Sirius is his godfather.
Godfather. No, I was thinking of Snape.
Snape.
But,
Snape's in love with his mother.
Yeah.
And that's
Harry's mother,
that's
what I meant. Yeah.
That's the great scene of, and then that the entire line, still Sirius, always. Severus, sorry.
Their names are odd. Anyway.
But anyway, as you think about that, so I think that's the thing too of.
They sure don't have any Erics.
In some ways, no, it'd be Elric.
Elric.
But in some ways,
Leviosa, Todd,
Coy,
Alec, Mr. Cooper,
Duke, Bo.
Anyway,
but
I gotta find that Cruxus, Bruce.
Get into the general league. We're gonna jump. It turns out that Bo and Luke were part wizard. That's why that car could fly. Anyway, no, I think in some ways she killed him enough. Like, how much more suffering could he go through? And then when he gets to
killing characters probably way too much.
And then, but I think that's the thing too, that now he never gets to be, because you would think he's the boy who lived. They built up all the prophecy stuff. Then the prophecy's over.
Well, he's just middle management.
Yeah,
I mean, for lack of a better word, he's us.
The prophecy is over. He has done everything. He is known now around the world. But what of it? It's over.
Yeah,
it's done.
Yeah,
it's like Bill and Ted having to write that ultimate song. Once that's done,
that's exactly what it's like. you couldn't have summed it up better.
Once it's done,
that was perfect.
Once they meet,
that's exactly what it was.
And that's how we're going to end this Harry Potter episode.
And there you go. Thank you so much for tuning in.
We're not going to talk about Fantastic Beasts.
Yeah, we are.
Just letting you get done. So we haven't actually talked about the Deathly Hallows themselves yet.
Which actually,
never come into play either.
I grew up in a holler.
No,
I know a holler, and you, sir, are no Deathly Holler.
That's one thing I do love about the movie is the animated sequence of the Deathly.
Yes.
That's beautiful. It's beautiful.
But yeah, it's
that story.
They never come into play. None of them, except the wand. But you never see the Resurrection Stone.
You see the stone?
That's the Philosopher's Stone.
It's not.
Well,
You can't even keep it up between the two of you. I mean, keep it straight, not keeping it up.
Yeah.
Surely you'd keep it up.
Yeah, no. The Resurrection Stone is what was hidden in the snitch.
Okay, yeah, sorry.
What?
Sorry.
What?
So, okay, when Dumbledore dies, he leaves each of the lead three, a gift. Hermione gets a book.
Yeah.
Okay? Ron gets the light put out.
Yeah, the light. Yeah.
Harry's supposed to have the sword, but the sword is not available. But he does get the snitch he caught in his very first game.
Yeah,
and the snitch now says, "I open at the close."
Yeah.
And the close is the end of Harry's life, I think. And so he gets there ready to die.
What he got from the Dalai Lama, Chad, if Caddyshack taught me anything, on his deathbed, he'll have complete consciousness.
But the
and the cloak of invisibility is what he had at the beginning of the very first.
Right, that is a family heirloom that's handed down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which ties into that bloodline.
But supposedly he needs all three to defeat.
And he has them.
But he doesn't use.
He doesn't utilize them.
By having all three, he technically becomes the Master of Death, which is why he can come back.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he speaks with a forked tongue, which brings us back to Satanism.
Wait. How can he come back from death? Because Voldemort has the wand.
But Voldemort's not the rightful owner
of the wand because he didn't earn it.
We learned from Ollivander in the very first one, the wand chooses the wizard.
So
you're confused as I am, right?
You have to.
I
follow.
gave up on it. I was ready to put on a
So
Fantastic
wand
Beasts.
logistics is you have your wand,
I
but
thought
if
she
somebody
said blonde
disarms you,
logistics. I don't understand. Why do you have to have a wand?
if somebody disarms you, then that person would become the rightful owner of your wand.
Uh-huh.
And so it goes. Dumbledore had the wand,
Uh-huh.
and even though they think Snape is the rightful owner because he killed Dumbledore, it's Draco Malfoy who disarms Dumbledore. So Malfoy then becomes the rightful owner. At the Battle of Malfoy Manor, Harry disarms Draco,
Which
So,
makes him.
makes Harry the rightful owner of the Elder Wand.
Good Lord.
You just have
It's
to watch
complicated.
Now, see, now that we've got you cleared up on this, let me explain the X-Men timeline to you. See,
No, no.
Cable's from the future,
Well, what
but it's
I want
only
you to
one
do,
future.
I want you to explain the Matrix now. Go.
I haven't actually seen it.
What they decided was they no longer wanted to be men. They thought they were women living in men's bodies.
Let's get to the Fantastic Beasts, the movie that I actually enjoy.
So you have to think
Do we have
about
anything
the
else for Harry
directors.
Potter we should cover real quick?
Nope.
No.
I did want to add something to your Hagrid point, but we can move on. If
No,
No, go ahead.
No.
We love hearing from you.
Hagrid, this is just writer quirk, something that I like that she's done. Hagrid,
Hold on.
his purpose is to carry Harry through his journey. So
Yeah.
he delivers Harry as a baby. He's the one that takes Harry from the Dursleys again, delivers him to school.
Mhm.
Even from the train, he takes them from the train to the school. Again, when Harry is at the Dursleys for the last time, he's of the Battle of the Seven Potters. He's the one that the real Harry goes with.
Mm-hmm.
And when Harry dies in the forest, it's Hagrid that brings him back to school. Hagrid carries him through his journey throughout the story.
Wow.
Yeah. Poor bastard. Always carrying around Daniel Radcliffe.
No, that's what. But I mean, again, I think that's the thing. I almost think that, and it's not a knock. I think that she builds the world so well that that Harry Potter may be one of the least interesting characters in it.
He's certainly not my favorite.
Because I think Hermione, and
I just felt like he existed. That was his
well, that's it. He's the C student of that world,
Yeah.
and that's not bad. But he's in a world much richer than he is.
Do you know that they call a wizard who graduated with a C average?
A wizard.
A doctor.
That's not true.
All right.
So real quick, the two things, I think there's one thing that every Harry Potter fan seems to agree on, and we've already covered it. Dame Maggie Smith as McGonagall, perfect.
Yeah.
One thing all the Potter fans seem to disagree with, Goblet of Fire, Dumbledore running in screaming, "Did you put your name in the Goblet of Fire?"
Because it says in the book, he asked calmly.
Calmly, that is the specific word
He
used.
calmly asked,
He
"Did
just
you
has
put
to get
your
all
name?"
his ducks in a row, make sure that's not... Okay, great, moving on.
Because it's a point of basically, it's how did you get by all the enchantments that stop you from doing that? Oh, you didn't. Okay then.
Great, it wasn't you. Anyway, that's just... We can move on.
No, that's good. No, I think our Harry Potter fans will enjoy that. The movie that Chad and I'm sorry if I speak, enjoyed the most was
You're the Fantastic Beast.
why?
Because of that Niffler.
He's totes a
I think
Niffler.
I had a Niffler once.
it's a well put
She
together.
was the same one who was the squalor.
It's a well put together story.
Howler.
Howler.
You live in squalor.
Well, she was a holler in that squalor. Niffler.
Nifflin. You be Nifflin.
I'd be niffling up in there.
Snitches be Nifflin.
Yeah, when I had those good ankles, I never had good ankles.
Snitches be Nifflin. Snitches be Nifflin. Or
No.
Nifflers be Snitch. I
Why
don't
don't
know.
you? Yeah, I answered why Goblin. Why do you think Fantastic Beasts about?
First of all, I'm and out of the four of us here, Chad and I have the longest relationship. That's nothing to take away from anybody. But I think I'm
bringing
speaking.
that up every other episode.
I feel
just
like
like
it's slide
picking it up.
against you at this point.
It probably is working against him. I said it to somebody the other day about him behind his back. So
And then
How
said,
many
"Don't
years?
hire
takes
him."
place in a world that I think we both love, which is New York in the 30s or 40s.
20s.
That's what I said. It takes place in 1920s New York,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So I love the costume design. I love the cars. I
Yep.
love all that, and I think they do a really good job with that. It doesn't necessarily have to be a Harry Potter fan to follow it.
Right.
I didn't have to read the books, which, by the way, the written screenplays, which we haven't talked about. Both screenplays of Fantastic Beasts movies were both written by J.K. Rowling. No Steve Kloves, no anybody else. Once again, both are directed by David Yates. So I don't have to be a Harry Potter fan to follow it.
Right.
I like the character of him.
Mhm.
He is not
Eddie Redmayne.
necessarily Eddie Redmayne, who was supposed to be in a Harry Potter film. He
auditioned.
He auditioned and never got.
I
the
never
part.
got it, so he was like, "Well, it's nice they finally
Yes,
came around."
and finally did.
His character is in one of them, but go ahead.
Right. Yeah, with the book, right? Fantastic
Well,
Beasts and Where to Find Them.
He's
What's his name again? Newt
Scamander.
Newt Scamander.
He appears on the Marauders map. It's kind of an Easter egg in one of the
Yep.
movies.
Right.
Yeah, you're right.
So
He's there.
It is there. So Eddie Redmayne is in it. I like the character of, I can't remember character names. I'm so sorry. So anyway, back to what I was saying. You
Dan
don't have
Fogel?
to know. Yeah, Dan Fogel's character, who's now on The
Kowalski.
Walking Dead, out of the blue.
Oh, really? I haven't.
Oh, I didn't mean to ruin that for
No,
anybody.
I'm
So sorry.
I'm a season behind, so I'm just gonna catch on.
So, and he's, by the way, one of the more interesting characters.
Of course he
is.
Of course.
I
It's
mean,
right
dude,
on the Goldbergs.
he was in Balls of Fury.
That's not what we're going to. Anyway, moving around.
Christopher
Kowalski,
Walken.
Hey, I like Balls of Fury.
That
I bet you do. I bet you do.
you would you call him a Nifflin?
Niffler.
You Nifflin squalor holler.
Snitches be Nifflin.
Snitches be Nifflin.
Let's face it, I am totes the Hermione of this group.
You do this?
I mean, hold on.
No, you're not the Hermione of this group.
I'm book learned.
That being said, that's the reason why I like it. I like the
He
character.
does like hairy men.
It has an ending.
Which is why you're single.
But it leads to a new movie that I'm going to see, but it is an ending. They do catch him, who turns into Johnny Depp at the end, although that's a little confusing to me.
And I still don't understand why everybody hates Johnny Depp, but I don't. Go ahead.
Yeah, anyway.
It's-
and I hear Johnny Depp's great in the next one as
Yeah.
the character, even though
guess.
people who are complaining about the movie saying it's contrived or not
No,
contrived, but
he's-
it's overcomplicated.
Oh,
He
it
is.
is complicated, but it's followable. I mean, it's not as complicated as it could be.
Oh my God! Well, Sean Ketterman, who's a great supporter of the show, who seriously who shares our show and watches our show all the time, says it sucks, but
I enjoyed it. I did.
I did.
said it was too complicated. Anyway, I
See,
know to
I-
give Ketterman a
I
shout
was
out for.
first
I like
first.
giving a fan. I mean, Sean's
Yeah.
a great guy.
Fantastic Beasts first, and we'll get to the
Yeah.
So those are my real reasons off the top of my head. I just enjoyed it. I'm trying to think of a better way to put it, Chad. What am I
No,
missing?
you're said everything as to.
It's not great literature. It's not
No.
a great movie. I'm just telling you that I enjoy the characters. They made sense to me.
Yeah, the setting-
Nobody got annoying.
No, nobody got annoying. The setting.
The two ladies, I
Yeah.
thought their story was interesting.
Oh, those. Yeah. Well, I know we're gonna get to Grin and Wall, but yeah.
We can't spoil it for Joe. Okay.
Even Ezra Miller
Yeah.
was good in it. So I mean,
But, and I think that's it. I think the one thing that I liked about it, because my
So
fear.
maybe it's in America. Maybe I just hate.
you hate
hate
being English.
You're gonna-
I don't
the
think
sequel.
that's true. I think I'd love to do.
every time a fish called Wanda comes on the screen, he gets so angry.
That would be the opposite of
Help
true.
Help us find out. Pay us to come to England. We'll film.
Hates
Yeah.
Monty Python.
Oh my God!
But I think that the reason that I liked and I really liked Fantastic Beast is it doesn't just, and I know the second one, which we're getting to, crosses over with it, but it doesn't need Hogwarts. It doesn't need.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't need any of that. And I
I think
understand
kind
that
of
it's the same world.
I kind of like the fact too that Newt is so mild mannered, but in some ways he's a rogue. He's
he does
he's-
not pay attention to authority.
he's breaking the laws. He's
Absolutely.
doing what he's not supposed to do.
He is doing what he thinks is right.
Right.
He is not. He doesn't have any kind of.
He's
trying
not,
to think of the word, but
he's not muscle bound. He's not a big hero. He just has this. This is what is the right thing to do. This is what I'm going to go and do. This should be returned to its home. This should be.
Yes, absolutely.
And-
No matter what anyone else thinks.
Yeah, and I think that makes him fascinating.
He's not charming.
No,
No.
He's very and he.
In fact, Dan Fogler's character is more charming than he is.
Yeah,
and
well,
Dan Fogler's character is a loser who can't open a bakery
And he's a,
because they don't have any money.
yeah, and but Newt is bumbling and brilliant at the same time, and it's very much like in his realm with animals, with the beasts. He's perfect, like the giant hippo thing that wants to have
Right.
sex with Dan Fogel. I mean, but he
I prefer to be called Mr. Lewis.
and in those scenarios, he's perfect. Like he comes across as here we just use a little bit of this and we're done. But then when it's something as simple as there's a jewelry store, I'll just break the glass. That's the direct way to deal with this. He
Yeah.
has no social knowledge,
Right.
and has complete knowledge of this one little area.
So we got to wrap this up.
So he's faculty.
Yeah, in a way, yeah, absolutely.
He is
That's
an
a very
expert.
good-
No,
Of
he
course,
is
you
an
brought it back to that.
Uh-huh.
No,
course you did.
he isn't.
Yeah.
But no, it's actually how I feel. It's like I'm in a meeting and people are talking about, well, we need to figure out the triangulation of finances, and I'm like, history of education says I should go sit down.
So, that being said, really quick, because we have to end this episode, what do you all want to say about the new Fantastic Beasts film? Because two of us haven't got to watch it yet. Have you?
No.
No. I had the surgery on the ankle, you see, so I haven't been able to.
It came out before that. If you were a first day subscriber.
I also have a 16-month-old.
The first one sets up the second one very well. It doesn't have to have the sequel, but it's setting up well. There's callbacks to it, but you don't have to. It would help to know the characters.
Okay.
I think what I like about it is I think Johnny Depp's character Grindelwald, as they pronounce.
Well, it depends on who you say. If
Who said
Dumbledore
it?
says it, there's the V. If everybody else says it, it's a W.
Yeah, maybe that's a throwback to that Voldemort.
Well, it probably is a throwback to their dumbass Americans and the one who's educated to know maybe what a German name would be.
But it has
German pronunciation, correct?
Yeah.
That's probably character development of it.
Yeah.
But no, sir, that is Grindelwald. Now my snooty British ass is going to walk over here. Limey bastard.
I think that the way it develops Dumbledore,
Herb.
and you get throwbacks to it to the Harry Potter series, the Harry Potter series. But you don't need the Harry Potter series either.
I mean, you get Nicholas Flamel.
You get Nicholas Flamel
Oh
finally.
my God, what would we do without Nick Flamel?
Which it's on the table that history of magic. Like Nicholas Flamel is based on an actual alchemist. I mean,
one's doubting that.
She researched history, and that's what that entire documentary about this. She actually did a ton of research. And
Let's face it, the best movie about alchemy is a Hudson Hawk.
Would you like to
swing on a star?
Anyway,
That is a great
You should
sequence
see it.
in a dog turd of a film.
You should see it.
Bite
Yeah.
my ass, Joe Lewis.
You've got, but I was about to say, so Grindelwald is Johnny Depp's Grindelwald is. I almost think he's almost darker than Voldemort in some way, except he doesn't get his hands dirty. He gets to play the "I'm really here to help you," and what he does in one scene in the movie, and all I'll say is he leaves the room and you just see a flash of light and you're like, "Oh crap." No, it's so. I mean, I think it's dark. It's all of this stuff, and you get a feeling of so many characters, and why Newt is actually maybe, if we put this in the Star Wars mythos, you need that gray Jedi, that person that we can't adhere to the Jedi codes all the time. We can't turn off.
And
the
maybe
Sith.
not everyone, by the way, we don't want to give away too much because maybe not everyone who's watched this has been able to see it.
No, and that's what all I'm going to say is Newt being Newt is what's needed. But that being said,
it's a Newt.
Well, there's a character early on who says, "Hey, you're gonna have to choose a side." He goes, "I don't do sides."
Yeah.
That's Newt. He doesn't do sides.
Right.
and there's at the very end you get, you could argue he's forced to,
Right.
but at the same time there's some characters that choose sides where you're like, this is going to have
Oh yeah.
effects.
I have one more question, and this is going to come off as a joke, but I don't really mean it to. She let a certain character thing about Dumbledore come out a few years ago, right?
Yeah.
And about his affiliations.
Yeah.
Does that get played upon in grounds of
Grindelwald or Vold?
Grindelwald? Grindelwald.
It does, but not as what I think.
Just how gay is he in the movie?
I think it's actually
Okay.
brilliantly done because it actually just, for lack of a better term, it shows a joining ceremony, and effectively you could argue they're blood brothers, but you could also obviously is what you want to read into it. Obviously, they made it still friendly to where my kids could watch it, and Dana and I both went, okay, there it is, and the kids were oblivious.
And I really didn't mean it as a joke, but I know
And I
it
don't
was
care
a
if my kids do know.
huge thing over the news for a couple of days, which
Yeah.
means that how batshit our news is sometimes, if this is an actual news story. But, oh my God, a fake character is gay.
Well, but it even, I mean, there's
I
allusions
just-
to it in the books. I mean, obviously, and all that
But
stuff
I don't
too,
want to
because
say fake
the
news.
mirror of
An
Ezerid
asshole says that.
and all of that stuff. Is it Ezerid? Well, how?
Harrison. It's
Erised.
desire backwards.
I know. I always want to put the S first.
You
I did
just
it when I
got
read to
that?
my kid.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like, hey, do you know why it's called Diagon Alley?
No.
It cuts diagonally. Do you know why it's called Nocturne Alley? Nocturnally. It's not.
Yeah, these are plays on words.
Oh.
Do you not pick up?
Dad
Do
is
you?
not impressed. Okay.
I don't know that I'm overly impressed either. But if you're at Universal and in the studios, go see that Diagon Alley. Get yourself there one of them butterbeers. I
Butterbeers are
enjoyed
good.
it.
You could also
I
get the
enjoyed it.
adult version of Butterbeer.
I have not had the adult
I
version
did not
of
either,
Butterbeer.
but I
There was
can-
no one there topless.
I can tell you that I had
If
the
I knew I could pay for that, I would have done it.
I had the normal version of Butterbeer, and I had enough sugar in me to vibrate through
That
a
is
wall.
very much true. And if you get yourself one of them chocolate frogs, I recommend.
Oh,
Actually,
yeah.
it was okay. It was just fun to do.
Do we have any final thoughts on Fantastic
I've-
Beasts?
I can't wait till the next one.
Okay.
I think in the grand scheme of mythos, a world building mythos where you have multiple films, multiple books, and all of that stuff. I think I have to give J.K. Rowling credit because to me, even in my age now, Star Trek was my love as a kid. There's Star Trek, there's Star Wars,
And you're old as shit.
and there's J.K. Rowling and Tolkien and Middle Earth. So you got Middle. I mean, as far as ones where I can say like you tell me you're setting a story in a pre-existing mythical universe, I'm going to assume it's one of those four.
Yeah.
Because they're so broad and there's so many options of stories still to tell.
I hope Star Wars gets there to a certain extent as well.
No, I was about to say Star Wars.
Yeah.
Star Wars, Star Trek, Middle Earth.
I think Star Trek does a better job of that.
In a DC universe.
Well,
Bastards.
one day they'll make a movie.
No, they won't.
You have anything to say about
Marvel,
Fantastic
Marvel.
Beasts?
But I wasn't Marvel on DC, sure.
Ending thoughts on doing Harry Potter. I really quick want to say I was not overly keen, but I've had a good time with this. I think as I'm getting older, and now as my son, I don't know what he'll be interested in, but I know Christy's got me more into it than I would have been beforehand. So I've enjoyed it more. What about the rest of you? I think I appreciate it with age, which should be the opposite of it.
Well, I think, and that's it too. Like watching.
I'm too old. I missed the.
Yeah,
I missed the boat.
Well, it's like Star Wars. If you don't get Star Wars at a certain age, like if you show Star Wars somebody,
You may
30,
enjoy it, but it's not the same.
it's not going to be the same.
Yeah,
Whereas I literally saw it early enough to where if you put a stick in my hand, nobody's watching. I'm going to do this.
most cool grown-ass men will do that.
And I think that's the. And I think the other thing.
Not you, not you.
I think the other thing about it is, why these things catch on and with certain age group is stuff like this. Is that
It's simplistic, yes.
yeah? Well, and it's you've got lightsabers, you've got this, you've got phasers, you've got toys, and it just becomes inherently. Listen, ET, back, ET. But I think I'll give that to you.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
I think that what
Hopefully it still works when we go back down there
to
that diagonally.
But I think that's it. I think that the more I read it to my kids, the more I appreciate it. Like I like the story.
But you're experiencing it through new eyes.
Yeah, I like the story. The story was entertaining the first time, but it wasn't something where I was like, okay, I'm going to reread this every 5 years. Whereas now I read it to my kids, and like Amelia, I mean, she has the Gryffindor symbol on her wall, and she had the Sorting Hat, and she got put in Slytherin, and she refuses to accept it.
Yeah, I know. I pissed her off. I kept bringing it up.
And so everybody else in the family is Ravenclaw, because we all did it, and I'm a Ravenclaw. Silas is a Ravenclaw. Dana's a Ravenclaw. She's the one Slytherin. And there's a comment I'll make later when we're not filming, but there you go.
Chad?
You're just indifferent?
No, I'm indifferent. I still am indifferent. I mean, I appreciate the cultural impact. In terms of what you would think would have a lasting cultural impact on society, Harry Potter. Just who would have thought it?
Well, I mean,
None of the
obviously,
publishers
I mean,
did.
we
Yeah,
love
no.
stories. I mean, and we could talk about Joseph Campbell and the power of myth, and we could get into all of that, and
Yeah.
why Star Wars is based on the Joseph Campbell myths, and how you deconstruct those things.
Also
and how Harry
Flash
Potter
Gordon.
works for. Well,
Flash!
maybe we'll eventually do an educated episode about the Star Wars.
I've learned that educated people aren't allowed to talk around here.
That's true. Ailey?
I agree with James. I appreciate them more now than I did when I first read them.
And I'm growing to like them better.
Like for me, it was fun. It was entertaining. But watching them, there's a specific scene in the fourth one where Molly Weasley hugs Harry, and it says it felt like the first time he never had a hug from a mother. I never appreciated that the first time through, and I'm like, that's so important.
And
Yeah.
I think now I'm going to go back and as my and read them. I think
You could read Fantastic Beasts.
I could read Fantastic Beasts.
Yeah, it's not actually a plot. It's
It's
yeah.
no, the actual, not the screenplay, the Fantastic, because she wrote The History of Quidditch, Fantastic Beast, and was there a third one?
I think I'm actually going to read the books and
Yeah,
go back and try to
I
start.
would read the books.
I think I want to read the books, and we won't go far. We won't go. I don't even read the Star Wars novels. Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
we're not,
First child.
and that means a lot to me. So
Yeah, you don't even know the real
So on
history
that
of
note-
Lando.
On that note,
Thank you so much.
take
Go
your.
ahead.
Did you have something?
No.
Oh, take that wand and turn off the camera
Take out this one and turn
because
off the
it's
camera.
real and that's why I can't.
Thank
touch
you
it.
all so much for supporting us. We give these. We give these.
I don't think
episodes-
there's a unicorn.
Can I say one real
Now,
thing
wait,
on this?
is that-
Bleep me out,
Well,
Christmas.
no, actually, One question.
I want to say
one
one
question.
heartfelt moment.
One question. What is her wand made of? Do you remember?
No.
Plastic.
Yeah, it's got
It's some
Could
fiber
be
optics,
unicorn
maybe.
hair,
Some
could be
fiber
phoenix feather. We got dragon heartstring.
Dude, ask her. I don't know. I was eating a chocolate frog.
After he ate a real one.
On that note,
Actually, I enjoyed the Simpsons one a little bit more. That being said, share us on social media. Thank you all so much for supporting us. Chad, where should they go on to subscribe?
Subscribe-yo!
On the
Who touched it?
iTunes-yo,
I want
on
to
the
hit him with that.
SoundCloud-yo, and YouTube. Please share us, subscribe, get out there. We need you.
Share-yo, subscribe-yo.
Thank you all so much. This has been
Leviosa.
Bonehead. I don't know why I keep reaching for it.
Spotify us.
If they would have
Sounds
us...
like a spell.
Yeah, no.
What'd you say?
That actually sounds
Spotify
like
us
a
actually
spell.
sounds like a spell.
Spotify us.
Bye.
Toodles.
We left the bathroom door open.
Why don't you close the
Use the
bathroom
wand.
door?
Close it.
Turn off the light. You raising a barn? Because there's a... Lights didn't have no barns.
Lots didn't have no barns.
I've been on a cat.
You on any Percocet?
No, I haven't had one of two
I
days.
know. You mentioned it early.
No, I'm
Oh, look at me. I'm clean now.